All right. Good morning, YouTube. Coffee chat. What's been going on? Got my Muggo Joe. We're going to go out here and converse a little bit. Let me get situated as I walk around, see who checks in, see what's going on in the rest of the world, see what we can get going on here. Oh, right. How's everybody been doing? Everybody have a good week, hopefully? Everybody survived unscathed other than that? It's been somewhat productive, hopefully. I got my enclave set up over here for conversing with the masses. Let's see what happens. Let's try and get this set up as a result. Oh, so what's going on here? All right, hey, we got some checking in already. Right on. See how long the battery lasts. We'll probably go as long as the battery will let us, or the internet, depending on which one shows up. Just give me a 4 there if everything's coming through okay, or otherwise, if it's not, I'm not sure. Switch to mobile or stay on Wi-Fi. Not sure yet. Let me get a good view. What's been going on? I got M Long, Dad on YouTube. What's going on? Frank Burns, good morning. It is a very strange and unusual morning here as... All right, Frank. Thanks, Frank. As wearing a sweatshirt in June is not usually the standard operating procedure, but the weather being such as it is, here we are. Oh man, I can't get that fixed, can I? Of course, nothing ever works the way you want it to, does it? To coffee, chill for a bit. Get this where I can see everybody's comments without straining my delicate eyes. All right, there we go. That'll work. That will work. Hey, Rooster, what's up? You're over this way? Right on. Well, don't worry. I won't come over and harass you over it because I'm not coming your way. Right on, but you were here last Sunday? Weather was still cool then, too. Unusually cool. It's been good times. It's been like, dang, that's a big jackrabbit. It was barely 70 yesterday. It was like 72 or lower all day. Like that overcast that we had. If you saw the drive stream, which was total garbage. I wish somebody would have said something a little bit more, like, "Hey, no, this is really bad," because it was totally different than the chat earlier where I tested the mic, and then of course, don't touch. I have to fix that. But then the chat yesterday was garbage with the wind noise, and nobody called me out on it. I was very disappointed. Let me see here. Get that going. Came through Sonora, nice. My old stomping grounds. I know Sonora Pass very well, if you know what I mean. Get some good stuff for 4th of July, is that right? The good stuff? Would you go to the tribal reservation or something? Get you some fireworks down at Scherge or something? It's the only thing I can think of as far as the good stuff for 4th of July. Hey, Wayne, what's up? Good morning, Wayne. Wayne is redoing his pantry. Got several videos. Just dropped another one this morning, which I haven't checked out yet. Everybody's chatting it up, man. Getting ahead of me. Don't get ahead of me. Say hi to the non-citizen. What are you talking about, Dad? I missed it. Hey, War Drums, what's up? Come over and have a cup. I can fix you up one. Or bring your own, BYOC. We'll double this up. Freedom TV. Good morning, welcome to the chat. How you doing? How you doing? So Delaware Patriot, that's kind of the subject of the topic, the title there of the chat. Yesterday I asked as he drove through flat Delaware. I didn't realize how flat Delaware was. I mean, it was Kansas flat, maybe flatter. But he was asking, what has America become? And unfortunately, Drudge Report immediately answered the question pretty much on time as I was going along, and there in very short order in a couple of their linked articles was some relatively good answers. They're linked below in the description box with links to the articles if you want to go check them out. And Delaware Patriots videos is linked below too. If you didn't see them. George Washington, good morning. How you doing? I got everybody here. All right, right on. But one of the articles is about TSA expanding their people who are signing up for TSA pre-check. So the sheep are impatient waiting in lines that they're going to get in the fast lane, all for their security because, well, of course they're the safe ones. It's just it's funny if it wasn't so scary as to what America has become, like Delaware was asking about. As far as Americans have become a bunch of people who, for their security, will go and have the good stuff getting, so they don't have to wait in line. They will turn over every bit of information about themselves, so they don't have to wait in line with the other unwashed masses. So they will avoid any inconvenience and never have to wait in line again, which we all know that's not going to be how it works. People are just further registering with the government, what the government already knows essentially. And those of us who are refuse to be counted will be the only ones left in any type of security line and be drastically put under scrutiny, because obviously we got something to hide because we didn't do TSA pre-check. Yeah, you know, that's kind of the way I look at that. So they're taking this TSA pre-check thing to like ballparks and concerts where you can sign up and do the trendy thing and get through your line quicker. That being said, if you haven't realized it, TSA is being stationed on, somebody's going out for a bike ride today. TSA is going into, lost my train of thought. I want to go for a bike ride now. Trains, any form of transportation you can think of, they have infiltrated their way into. Most of us who aren't in the big cities or stuff where there is a subway or something, we're not aware of this stuff, but it's been put out there for several years where their TSA is now pretty much checking you when you go on buses, when you go on trains, everything like that. Let me adjust this. The sun moves against our will. Right. But hey, good morning, RG. How you doing? Driving is a privilege. So flying is a privilege. You want food? Eating meat is a privilege. You gotta get soy burgers instead, right? Potentially. I can't get this to stay where I want it to stay. It's gonna be very disappointing, isn't it? They were testing it out a while back there, Wayne, you say? I guess. I mean, TSA pre-check is not a new thing, but pushing it out and doing it to get all this registration boosts their numbers, to boost their participation rate, essentially, the people that sign up, is just a sign of what has become of America, is they will beg for security before they have any freedom. They're much, the TSA screening program should die because nobody participates, is where we should be in America. It was done by a contract company. It wasn't even like DHS employees, like TSA guys or anything, or DHS. It's a contract company that goes out and does all this stuff, all the registrations. So you have a civilian contracting firm, which has no allegiance or loyalty to the American people, right? Doing this, maintaining the data. You got to figure out where's all that stuff data mined, where does it go? And yet it had an all touchy-feely article to push it about this young, hip teenager, I guess early 20s type, the typical on-the-go mid-20s set or whatever, how it's going to improve their speed of, travel, and they won't have to have any inconvenience in their life. The government's going to solve all your inconveniences. Never mind the inconvenience they put through by having unconstitutional checkpoints and airports, and the inconvenience that was brought on by those actions that they created. They're going to solve your problems now by doing this pre-check thing. It's the typical Hegelian thing. Problem, they create a problem, they get the reaction, they give a solution, and all for their benefit. It's just miraculously bizarre. Hey CE, what's going on? Have I seen much? I haven't checked on Twitter today, actually. I've neglected Planter, the company. I don't know what you're talking about. Hey, the Saint, what's up? Now Salvate's got a patented slurp. I could do. I like the tagline. I could do. It's the HDP. It's the High Desert Pioneer for short, though. I could do that because I like it's Salvate for short. You can call me Sal, but it's Salvate for short. He does an awesome show. That's some good stuff. I like watching him. So yeah, that article below about people begging to have their wait times minimized with the masses so that they don't have any inconvenience in life through TSA to control and cattle herd them through various forms of transportation. That's down there. And then the next one that caught my eye right off the bat was the headline, the way it was tagged on Drudge, was that Alaska had become the most criminal state or something like that, to that effect. It had the highest crime rate now or something like that. Like, things are bad Alaska's always had a high crime rate because it's all young single men, right? And a lot of people live large and a lot of people don't. But this had more to do with the fact that the federal government's going to save the day once again by bringing in $10 million for tribal police forces. It's not bad enough that Americans are subdued by the federal government nationwide and are expected to do what their overlords tell them, but the tribal governments, which try to maintain some form of autonomy, are for federal assistance and federal intervention to increase their security, of course, in the same way. So that article's below about the tribal governments up in Alaska. They're getting all this money for enhanced crime fighting procedures and extra police, and $10 million just drop in the bucket, right? That's really, it's pocket change. It's a rounding error for the federal government. Excuse me. But that's out there, and it's just a continuation of, again, begging the federal government to come save their problems with money that doesn't exist. It's made up, and like they somehow have the power to fix everything just because they have digits on a computer, and that's what drives the train, right? Very sad stuff, and that kind of answers Delaware's question: what has America become? America is not America. America is a protectorate of Washington, D.C., subsidiary owned by the central bank. If you were to put it in full title and full recognize all the players in the problem, the centrally owned bank owning the subdivision of Washington, D.C. has enforced protectorate status over the whole of the 50 incorporated states. I don't know. Could you say it any better than that? But that's what it is. It's nothing. It can be any different, or there can be no suffering in any area different from any other portion of the country uh, that the feds won't come in and try to solve because you can't do it yourself, and you're not allowed to have any other form or shape or manner of lifestyle different in any form of portion or point of the country than the other, with mild exceptions. But nobody can, if anybody disagrees with you, you must change that so that we all can get along. That's, I guess that's where we're at. To kind of talk about Delaware's chat and kind of wrap up my conclusion to my thoughts on that, based on those two articles alone, you can only assume so, you know. No, nobody pushes back, nobody fights back, I guess you'd say. There was a story yesterday about the Hammonds once again in court because some environmentalist who doesn't like the way they do things in Oregon is shutting down their grazing range. And the federal government put in an injunction. Again, their overlords from D.C. put in an injunction over Oregon land because Oregon has begged them to take over their responsibility for so long that that's just the way it is now. Nobody even acknowledges that, hey, this should be Oregon. And it's sad because people look at it, it talks about it in the article, people just want people, outsiders, to leave them alone, to let them do the way things they've done in Harney County, all these, you know, century or whatever, let them get along with their lives and live the way they live that may be different than people elsewhere. But that's not allowed. And until you get rid of the BLM, until you get rid of the outsiders, because unfortunately people in Harney County now think that the BLM is them, but it's not. It's part of the corporation of DC. It's the outreach entanglements, just like the TSA, encroaching upon their lives. And they wonder in those articles about why outsiders are here messing with their business. Well, BLM and the federal government are in bed with these environmentalist corporations, and they're conspiring together to seize the land from Oregon. And there you go. There you have it. And there, it's that. I don't think I put that article below. It's out of the Oregon Live, though, Oregonian. Same people that have been following those stories for a long time. That's down there, though. The Hammonds were in court trying to negotiate a stay because they had two grazing allotments they were allowed on. The environmentalists came in crying that the feds messed up with a rounding error and allowed too many cattle on, and they shouldn't have opened the other allotments for them, and they're supposed to be opening up the allotments like today. And then they postponed it. I guess they reached an agreement last night to stay the grazing until the middle of the month so they can review it, the environmentalist concerns. But again, there you have outsiders coming in, people telling people how to live, which they bemoan. But as long as they let the BLM rule the roost too, that's not going to change, because those are the outsiders. As much as it might seem like their neighbor is the BLM, it's not, because all the decisions and proclamations and all decisions they come from outside Harney County. You know, it may seem like they sometimes are benevolent and make benevolent decisions for Harney County sometimes, but otherwise they're not in their best interest, right? So there's another example of what has become. It's like you could do this daily. We could do this daily and have a chat of what has become of America. And it's never a good picture because it's not what was intended or not what was enshrined or what we're taught in school and stuff about how there's these 50 states that are working together to form a more perfect union or whatever. No, that's not what's going on. It's more of a one centrally controlled location trying to bring everybody under the thumb of that control so that everything operates efficiently, right? Try and get the trains to run on time. There can be no upset, no hiccups, because life is supposed to be just one easy street, right? It's the zero defect mentality that people that have gotten charge have now, that if there's any complications in life, they must come in and save the day, which makes life not worth living, really. So I guess that's my soapbox for this morning in this coffee chat. That took a little while, but Yeah, if you don't see that, if I didn't put that link below to the Hammonds, um, you did it in, again, look it up, Oregon Live. I guess it would be under Hammonds in court or Hammonds grazing rights revoked or something like that. It just popped up yesterday. It's on their Facebook stand with the Hammonds and stuff like that. It's out there. So let me check out this chat here. Not that I've neglected everybody of what's going on. Slurp your copy like, say, there's hey, Delaware, you made it. Delaware had sausage and eggs cooking in the cast iron. Right on. Waves hand like a Jedi. Uh-oh. Bacon and eggs for war drums. Kenneth H., good morning. North Texas Patriots, 1776. Hey, good morning. West Wind's been watching a show called Colony, very appropriate for the times, I see. Is that on network TV or Netflix or what? Never heard of it. Wayne says the tribal leaders just want to steal the money. There are problems in a lot of tribal governments that's true. Mountain Man 1478 on the backside of that there lake out there in Arkansas. How's it going, Mountain Man? Haven't seen you in a while. I have to check in and see if you've done any videos lately. I haven't. I've been negligent. Planner knows everything about you, says C from Bloomberg. As long as everybody's focusing on DHS and immigrants, they are not paying attention to what DHS is doing to us. Oh, right. Yeah, DHS is all over our business. No doubt. TSA PreCheck is a mild thing. They are... that's been reported on about the terabytes of information that they've rolled up just on data mining alone, social networks and everything else. And then you get into actual government registrations, DMV records that they're not supposed to have, things like that that the states have shared with the DHS that are the cat's out of bag. You're in Pandora's box now. It's on Netflix, says Wayne. So Colony on Netflix, Wayne recommends as a reflection of our current times. PSYOP BS meter freak turns on when you turn on Netflix. Yeah, that's pretty much any modern media, any current entertainment enterprise is a PSYOP. It seems like nowadays. Even the World Cup trying to watch the World Cup is a challenge with the amount of propaganda they push on that, not just in the advertising, but in the just the programming of the way they present things. So, so you talk about the state of America, so if you haven't noticed, which some of you may not have, but the World Cup's an enjoyable thing. It's good to watch America beat up on people, right? It's like you try to take that with a grain of salt, pride-wise and stuff, but it's enjoyable entertainment nonetheless. But there's this soccer player, Rapinoe, who's like the middle-aged senior veteran of the group who's been out as gay ever since I think she played. I don't think it was anybody's secret. She never played up on it. And now she didn't stand for the national anthem in like round one, and she made some comments, and now she's like front and center of all the news broadcasts, and she's scoring goals and everything, like she's winning the games like lately and stuff like that. But it was interesting when they did it was last week when they had started the round of 16, they did a centerpiece article like on the story before the game on the, I guess it was Fox, right? So that was going on. And when they were doing that on her, I flipped it over to the Telemundo in Spanish, and they were doing a whole different article, whole different presentation on Alex Morgan, one of the other players. So they weren't even talking about the same thing in the same streaming broadcast, just in a different language, right? And just to watch the way Telemundo presents women's soccer versus what is presented in America, let you talk about the PSYOP BS, like he was saying in there. First of all, the anchors on Telemundo are they're all half-dressed women. Which is typical for Telemundo, right? It's typical for Spanish or Mexican TV. Spanish-speaking TV is typical like that, which would never be allowed in America. American audience wouldn't allow that, which I find that is ironic watching women's soccer. So much for the, I guess you could say, in that respect, the Spanish-speaking audience is more liberated in their viewpoints of women. Whereas in the American audience, it's a split crew of 2 men, 2 women who are all buttoned up. One of them's one of the German ladies from way back when, I think. But while they're presenting on one of the more, I guess, traditional American presentations, we're talking about this gay lady who's going to stand up and not stand for the flag and resist everything and all this other stuff they're talking about or whatever. But that's the 2 different perspectives that the 2 different audiences are getting all at the same event. And it just makes you shake your head like, maybe we'll just let the Mexicans take over. We might be better off for it, at least. I don't know. It was just weird. See, he's watched Colony. Everybody's watched Colony. Okay, I've been missing out. North Texas says, no matter which side you're on politically, the elite have you in their narrative, right? If you look at a lot of their MSM shows, they've been subtly preparing people for an Antifa movement. Oh, sure. 2 sides, same core, Hegelian, all that good stuff. Yep. Texas says North Texas says, well, at least when Obama was in, there was more patriots prepping and training. You're right. Everybody went to sleep when Trump was elected. We've talked about this numerous times. As soon as Trump got elected, everybody like, oh, yeah, I'm good. I don't need to prep. I don't need to train. I don't need to, keep my firearms up to date or prep or anything like that. Yeah, that's true right there. We have warned for pretty much before Trump got elected that he was a distraction. He was a part of the team. Anybody that hung out with Hillary and Jesse Jackson and all the interconnections that Trump had for all those years is in on the team. He's either very ignorant or in on it. And if he's ignorant, you don't want him as president. If he's in on it, you don't want him as president either. Or you should just be suspicious at the least. But people fell asleep for sure. Right, West Wind, the Republicans are worse because they always put the knife in the back when they get back in power. They don't do anything, just like with the Affordable Care Act, sat on their hands, just like all this stuff that they had control for 2 years and now they're complaining that they can't get anything done. Well, you were in control for 2 years and they didn't do anything. It is very sad. Hey, Farkas, what's up? How you doing? I haven't seen a video from you, Farkas, lately. Have I missed them, or are you negligent not putting them out? Which is it? Thanks for dropping in, Farkas. Good to see you. Oh, the kowtow. That's a good word, Mountain Man. People don't use that as well as they should. Country died 1865, right? Right, the Republic died. There's a book out there called What Lincoln Hath Wrought. And I've long called it Victims of the Lincoln Doctrine. Everything we're suffering from, and people that talk about the way the country should function, I call it the Lincoln Doctrine of absolute compliance and subservience to DC, which is Lincoln's doctrine. People like to lift Lincoln up as this great person and everything, but he was nothing more than a tyrant to get subservience to DC. He didn't save the Republic, he destroyed it and turned it into something else. And people refuse to see that. There's a couple of good books out there that got me on that line of thinking way back in the day. Doris Kearns Goodwin wrote her book on Lincoln, supposed to be a fluffy, feel-good piece about Lincoln and highlight all his. It's supposed to be lifting him up as this great 16th president of the United States, right? But you can read that book and just see the nefarious nature of everything. Billy Bird Outdoors, what's going on? How you doing? It got a little choppy there, Rooster. Is it in and out? Let me switch over here. It could just be the mobile for a while. don't want to eat too much bandwidth, but we'll roll with it for a little while. Kenneth H. as my issue with the Washington situation is telling you have to Coke without any regard that you might like Pepsi. As long as you like Coke, you're fine. Otherwise, you're screwed, right? Right? How did the Bundys come up, Wayne? What are you talking about? Mountain Man did a vid on the so-called water shortage. Did you have a water shortage out there, Mountain Man? We still got snow in the mountains here, so we're doing pretty good on water ourselves. I know the rains out east have been brutal. North Texas says looking to get out of DFW. Man, that's scary. People trying to get out of Dallas Fort Worth, right? Like somebody was it Delaware that was talking about that yesterday about how Texas, has always traditionally been a red state. No, it was another video. I think it was Overtaxed Taxpayer was talking about it. Texas traditionally was red, but then it just like everywhere else, the big cities turned blue, and a lot of it has to do with the shipped-in immigration, not immigration, shipped in. Anybody that comes across illegally or any refugee status gets shipped into a red city, and it's turned blue miraculously. It's just like Minneapolis. Why you would put Somalis in Minneapolis for any other reason than to change the demographic and to change the political outcomes in that area? There is no other reason. It's not like it's familiar terrain or familiar culture or anything. If you're putting people in Minneapolis from Somalia, you're trying to change that location to be something different than it is. It's the only way you can explain that. And it's happening to big city. It happened decades ago in all these big cities. Iraqis, to a large degree, you could say the Vietnamese refugees changed a lot of the West Coast culture in particular. Even though they self-settled in a lot of cases, they weren't transplanted directly on purpose. They kind of went where they did on their own because they actually did it the right way, I guess you'd say. Mountain Man says, what type of person breaks into your home when then a little over a year later subscribes to your YouTube channel? Psychotic, maybe, Mountain Man, maybe a way to say it. Sounds like a personal problem. Wayne doesn't like women's sports. The World Cup is really good, though. They can play some soccer. Kenneth H. says, when Trump took over, you're prepping double because I was able to take advantage of all the sales. Exactly, right? Everything's still. I mean, 22 long rifle came back. Everything is relatively cheap because we're definitely back to like 07 prices, I guess you'd say, in a lot of things. I mean, there's been some inflation over the long term, but nothing. We don't have any 09 prices for stuff as simple as 22 long rifle, stuff like that. Shortages are a thing of the past. Like Midwest Prepper says, it's a sale every day. Get your stuff now, spare parts, kits, everything else you need, right? Yeah, see, no, I don't know. Not everyone forgets. Some people still hold Trump accountable for that. Grab their guns first, due process second. Yeah, that meme will live forever. Yeah, people just give him a pass. I mean, he gets to speak to the NRA convention after that. I mean, you say like something like that, but then you still allow you to go to the NRA convention and speak, and that's why people are jumping off the NRA bandwagon finally. I mean, I got off the NRA bandwagon 18 years ago or something like that. I can't remember what the issue was at the time, but it was like the last straw. But I'm a lifetime member, so I still get their magazine and stuff. So I was like, I'll still get the magazine and read a lot of the news and stuff, but see what kind of propaganda they're putting out. But they've always been a subservient to the feds has always been their agenda and the way they push things. On down, Robert and Cindy Moore, good morning. How you doing? Thanks for checking in. West Wind says, look at the Democrat clown show running for president. It's obvious. there is no doubt that Biden is being selected. Unless something drastic happens in the next 6 months, they're going to have Biden front and center, which is scary because you think about the pedophilia that he promotes. It's pretty obvious, which is just scary, right? But he's going to get smoke checked in the election, you would think, because it's not going to mobilize the younger Antifa set. So does that make them more riled up for future action if Biden is the one selected? So they have that the AOC set, I guess, the AOC army, Ocasio-Cortex's people, the people that are on her team. Do they start getting more violent because they realize that politics is not the way out, or are they going to powers that be realize this and insert one of their privileged classes in there, either through the form of a woman or one of their protected groups that's up there on the stage as a representative of the protected groups? Are they going to have one of them get through just to appease the masses? Because Biden doesn't appease the masses, that's for sure. But it's a clown show. No, Wayne, that was the Hammonds that the BLM is screwing with, not the Bundys. Whole different problem, whole different situation. The Hammonds are different crew. You thought you were going to get washed off the hillside, mountain man? Seems like it's been pretty common up there, up and down the south in particular. Right, Wayne? Wayne's more worried about the Muslims. Yeah, lots of Somalis, and downtown San Diego, there's whole communities of Somali, Iraqi, Egyptians, everybody. You just don't know who's who. Hey, Backcountry Preps, what's up? How's things down there? How's things on the Arizona homestead? Wayne says it's bad when there are more Muslims in certain places in SoCal than Mexicans, right? That makes you concerned, don't it? So much for Aztlan. That's not going to happen, right? They've missed their chance. North Texas is looking to go to East Texas. Looking to find like-minded people. North Texas, are you subscribed to Wes S. or Rob Painless? They're out there in further East Texas. I don't think they're the farthest east, but they're east of DFW and stuff, I think. Go check them out. Maybe an AO you're looking to go to. Dad on YouTube. No, Dad on YouTube's in what, Arkansas or something? North Alabama, maybe. Hey, High Pocket, how's it going? From the San Bernardino Mountains. That's right, you're camping, right? Close call with a skunk last night. Oh, nice. Good times, right? So you're out camping for the week, right? You still got signal, though? Everybody's saying hello, hello, hello. Good to see everybody in the side chat. Rooster wants Biden to win. Crash and burn, get it over with, right? But they don't want that unless they control it. So that's going to be on purpose. And it's going to be a Hegelian thing. So be aware of that. Problem, reaction, solution. Got to figure out how you're going to push back in that situation if it does crash like that. That's the hardest thing about determining if this thing does fall apart. It's like, why are they letting it fall apart? Or what catalyst caused it, and what do they want to get out of it in the end? Which in the end, coming out of that crash, they're just going to want more control. Just like in the last crash, they got basically sole ownership of all the banking system, not just the big banks. But by bailing out the big banks, they eliminated the little banks in such a way that to gain control over that system. But it pushed the degree of difficulty higher, pushed the what's the balloon factor, I guess you'd say, the degree of danger for the next bubble even higher with that whole deal. El Cajon is basically all Muslim, is that right? Hey, Steve USMC, what's going on, Steve? Have not seen you in a while. I've seen you in other chats, actually, I guess, but just not on here. Looks like they're going to doing a rodeo today. People bringing in their hay and horses. War drums, message retracted. You can't do that, man. Oh goodness, now I don't know what you said. North Texas, it's Wes S. and Rob Painless. Right, Robert and Cindy Moore got you on the right underneath that. Wes S. and Rob Painless are in West Texas. If you look them up, they're out there, I guess Lubbock area. I guess big. You're thinking big general terms, Lubbock area, but they're in that section of the state, I guess. I need a fancy microphone like a Delaware Patriot. He's got one of those. What do you call it? He's got one of the, that's a land-based mic. I'm on mobile. That mic wouldn't do much good on the mobile device, I don't think. Rooster says, you know, they're changing the name of schools in New Orleans too. Every one of the schools have names, or they're just changing it. Well, that's who lives there. They're going to change the names to suit their culture, right? I mean, since the hurricane, who lives in New Orleans anymore? Hey, Mule Team, what's up? Good morning, sir. Good to see you, Mule. Mule did his video response to Resist the Tyranny the other day. It's his monthly video. If you missed it, go check that out from the Mule Team. Oh, they're mobile, Billy Bird? Oh, they're fancy, huh? Guess I'll have to get a fancy microphone like Delaware then, so I can keep up with the Joneses, right? They were going to bring Syrians to Delaware, says Delaware Patriot, but it was too remote. Yeah, I wouldn't consider Delaware remote by any stretch of the imagination, that's for sure. I mean, you're right next to the center of confusion in D.C. and everything else. Philadelphia, like, yeah, Newport News, all of Northern Virginia and Eastern Virginia there. That's a pretty built up area. Oh, Kenneth H. is out there in Tejas as well, it looks like. High Pocket knows 2 California teachers that moved to New Orleans. Rooster staying away from New Orleans. All right, good advice. Of course, I'd stay away from San Francisco too, but you got to do what you got to do. Yeah, sweatshirt weather in June. I guess if this is global warming, give me a double dose, I guess. Or if this is climate change, so be it. Off-grid power, good morning from northern Utah. Hey, how you doing? Nice to see you checking in. We're in the low valleys, I guess, of the high desert of northern Nevada, to put it one way. I'm up high on the mountains as much as I'd like to be. Yes, Rooster, we know. San Francisco sucks so bad. High Pocket, you're in sweats too down there in Southern Cal? Yeah, you and Wayne both, right? Wayne might be inland a little bit, getting a little bit cooler than you, though. Or warmer, I mean. Coffee's getting a little cool. D-Mac Outdoors is with us. Hey, good morning, D-Mac. How you doing? Hope all is well out your way. This is naked weather, says Wayne. I don't know, not up here. I wouldn't. You'd be getting hypothermia. You go naked right now out here at night or it's early in the morning. It is definitely still a little chilly for that. It's like 90 for Delaware. It's supposed to be going to a bonfire tonight. All right, on. I don't know why you need a bonfire at 90 degrees, but right on. Oh, they're talking about range time, good times. There we go. Uh-oh. Rooster's going to put everybody on their homework notice. Adapt 2030. Is this different than, oh, let's get out of the shine there. What is Adapt 2030, Rooster? I haven't heard of this. Adapt 2030. I'm scared now because they changed Agenda 2020 to Agenda 2034 or something crazy. Like they keep kicking the can down the road with the plan. Rooster says no sunspots, right? Potentially. Yeah, is it solar minimum? I don't know what's causing it, but I'll take it. West Wind. Wayne says he's going to be on the homestead full time by 2030, right? Oh, it's a YouTube channel? Okay. What's it about, Rooster? Is it about the sunspots or is it about something else? Adapt, or is it like a homestead channel? Adapt 2030 would sound like some type of homesteading or something. Good times. Adapt 2030 mini ice age conversation. Oh, okay. Right, like the mid 1800s and other times, right? Steve, the world was going to end 10 years and 100 years ago. It seems like it happens a lot, doesn't it, Steve? It's like everybody makes a prediction that doesn't come true. Planet cooling due to sunspots. Yeah, I've seen a lot of about that, not only on YouTube, but just research, and there's a lot of science behind that people don't realize. The great heater in the sky makes a bigger difference than anything. Communiques going. DMAC says the same thing. Humans should have been extinct 100,000 years ago. Well, they adapted, I guess, because of brain power, I guess you'd say. I don't know if they should have been extinct. Yeah, smoke from fires is good for keeping the bugs away, that's for sure. It's hard to believe that it'd be a hard time to find a good range to shoot at in Texas. You'd think you would never have to say that, but here we are. Hope you guys find something. Yeah, we got several people that might be moving out to Tejas there soon. Stay alert. I know several people trying to get out of California in particular. Somebody's got a range over 1,000. That's good. Yeah, well, some cultures should be extinct, Rooster. I think that's the point. More to the point. Some cultures should definitely be extinct. Oh, cool, Wayne. That should be a good time. Just remember, it's all lies, and anything said about me, it's all lies. Just remember that. Oh man. High Pocket, you gonna go to Texas, or are you still looking to go to Utah? I know High Pocket's trying to get out of SoCal as well, with one attempt down. Right, Steve? Everybody leaving Cali, they're coming somewhere else, right? And they usually don't have enough common sense to know why they're leaving. Are you gonna be able to get to Alaska, High Pocket? That would be awesome. Um, what was I seeing about Alaska? Man, there was something about it. Well, I just talked about the other Alaska story earlier, but there was something else. I can't remember. But Alaska's always nice. Just to make sure you're ready for the cold. Definitely climate change when you're going from Southern Cal to there. Target practice in Mountain Man's backyard. Everybody be ready. Mountain Man got the invite out. You go, DMAC? You leaving Utah? Is that a work-inspired change or other necessities? Utah's not a bad location. Rooster staying in California and fighting. Made up his mind. Yeah, it would be nice if people had that type of perspective, Rooster. I think we're at the point to where you're not going to move and drastically improve your position, like as far as imposition of government imposition. It's going to follow you wherever you go. So you might as well stand and fight where you're at. The only time I can really see moving being beneficial is if you're looking at homesteading, getting a parcel, and doing something like that. Then that's a good reason to move. But if you think politically moving is going to do any, I think standing and fighting is the best policy. Delaware's looking to move out of Delaware, looking at land, and oh, you're not going to move to Nevada? I was hoping it would be the Nevada Patriot. Hoping to get the name changed, but you're looking at Arizona, North Carolina, and Tennessee. Right on. I know some places in North Carolina. They got some awesome areas. D-Max moving to a homestead spot in Georgia. That's quite the change. Oh, close to family, so you're from out that way too? Okay. West Wayne says probably one of the best locations for where you are. Digging and fighting because there ain't much of a choice, right? Well, yeah, Wayne, you're in a whole different situation for sure. You got to be ready to fight at a moment's notice, right? High Pocket says too many programmed to sleep people in Utah. Yeah, well, that's the religious culture there inculcates that, I guess you'd say, to a certain degree. Out of Salt Lake City to a 40-acre parcel in North Georgia. Yeah, D-Mac, you'll be out there with like LS and everybody. Lots of people out there in Georgia. Jimmy from Tucson, how you doing? Checking in from Arizona, Tucson. Welcome to the chat. Thanks for checking in. Yeah, right, Wayne. People have been moving politically for 40 years. Hasn't helped much, right? The movement hasn't really shifted things significantly. Yeah, cheaper land. It sounds like Delaware. You get a nice spread out there, especially in western North Carolina, East Tennessee. Some definitely nice areas. Rooster would take you over here, I guess. You can't be any worse than any other neighbors from California. All right, Delaware. Will hopefully Nevada will make the cut in the next round of decisions. It's the big cities in Cal, says Steve. Right, northern. I mean, it's sad because the geography of California is just awesome, and just the people mess it all up. Oh, Wardrum says Tennessee is the place to be. Is that right? Have you got you scoping out a homestead there? Wardrum's network. You got something in mind? I can point you in the right direction of some stuff in East Tennessee if you're really looking that hard. I guess to be concerned about what you're looking for as far as work opportunities as well. D-Max looking to Lawnville, Tennessee. Yeah, you got family in Johnson City. Okay, yeah. Right on. Right, D-Mac? Yeah, that's kind of the area I know out there, Elizabethton and down over the border into the North Carolina there, that whole area. Oh, Tommy boy, what's going on? Good morning. Tennessee's the place to be. Tommy was out there on the last road in the last mailbox out in southeast Tennessee. Can you see Georgia from your house, Tommy boy? Aren't you that far south? Pretty close. Rooster says Modesto is still okay. You can fly your Confederate flag. There's just a lot of irony in somebody out here flying a Confederate flag. I don't think there's better ways to show your discernment. Hey, Iron Witch, good morning and welcome to chat. How you been doing? Haven't seen you in a while. Haven't done a chat like this in a while either, though. It doesn't help. Westwood says all the nuke plants in Tennessee are sketchy. That's a concern. The you got the big ones down there near Knoxville and stuff. There's a lot of Patriots East Tennessee, yeah, for sure. Well, you got the whole SOS show and everybody else, right? I know a lot of folks down that way. Delaware Patriot says Delaware's full of people flying the Confederate flag. Well, it's in the South, right? Like you said, Delaware, the Census Bureau even says it's in the South. Right, Rooster. The Confederate flag flying has changed its meaning a lot. I remember I always used to laugh at people from West Virginia who would fly the Confederate flag. Like, don't you know that your state was formed as a protest against the Confederacy? But yeah, it's taken on a whole different image of independence and everything else. It definitely has a different perspective now. But people don't get that either. People only associate it with one thing. West Valor Ridge. Oh, okay. Is Reed? Is that East Tennessee where he's at? I didn't know where he was at exactly, but I figured he's down there somewhere in the South Hills. But I know he was East Tennessee, but that makes sense. DMAX says he'll be able to see North Carolina and Tennessee from the Georgia plot, all right? Yeah, you're definitely up there in the Iron Witch is full speed ahead, right? Good to go. T-Max seen more Confederate flags in Pennsylvania than anywhere else in the South. That's funny. Oh, the Cumberland Gap. Okay, nice area. Right on. Lots of resistance is out there, I guess you'd say. How to make it effective resistance is another whole nother problem, right? People are working against you to, like we talked about at the very top of the chat, America's become a subservient culture. It's totally antithetical to the independent nature of most. So you're going to have to fight the infiltrators. They're going to be pushing the subservience agenda versus the independence agenda. It's a whole different clash of not only cultures but agendas. Oh, a combination. Wayne's going to go to Valor Ridge, get to the class. Frontier medicine and rifle and pistol. That'd be a good time. Does Patriot Nurse do classes out there? I don't really catch a lot of Reed's stuff. I just kind of every now and then he'll put out a video. And I'm like, he's on point as usual. Hey Sparks, what's going on? You still up in the high desert, Sparks? What you doing up there? Hey, I like this cool weather. As like I said, we shouldn't be having hoodie weather in June, but here we are. Usually I'd be sitting in the shade just to stay cool from the sun, but today it's like I almost want to move out of the shade in the sun. It's almost July. North Texas said Reed Hendricks for president. Only if he makes me secretary of either makes me secretary of defense or secretary of the treasury, one or the other. Iron Witch, you're in Georgia too? Okay, yeah, there's lots of people in Georgia. Yeah, Jay Sparks, cool for sure, right? Yesterday was barely 70 degrees. It was like Is this April or March or what? Like, the weather's just been, what's up, Chipmunk? Wish I had the pellet gun with me. Be taking out the ground squirrels around here. Oh, yeah, Wayne. It took me what to get my VA everything started. It was like 13 months before I got my first VA drop. Don't hold your breath, is what I'm saying, Wayne. You know what I'm saying? Oh, let's get up here. I think I have to go get some more coffee. I'm dry. Anybody else dry? Want to go in and get some coffee? See how this goes. Oh. The natives aren't too restless yet. Uh-oh, somebody yelling at me. Make a stew of the ground squirrel, says Mountain Man. Right? You could probably, even up here, you could find some to do something with, for sure. Whoa. Uh-oh, Robert and Cindy already got their cup of Joe for the refill, right? Yeah, the VA is not fun, DMAC. That's why I don't deal with them. I got my stuff set up and can't mess with it. I don't want to go asking for more than they can give, which they can't give much. Let's get this Joe started here. Round 2. Well, Rooster, do you consider Carson City a mid-sized city or a small city? Other than that, I guess you'd say Reno would be mid-sized. You know, Northern Nevada's not got a lot of cities. So either Carson or Reno. It's the only cities up here. You know? I mean, Carson is what? Carson City's right at 55,000 or so, you know? And I think that actually might be the entire county population. That might even be just the city. That might be the entire county. Oh yeah, we got what do you think we're looking at in all those videos where we're sitting around there, Rooster? That's the Sierra we're looking at, eastern side. All those chats. You gotta remember, most of my videos, Rooster, are from Carson City. Just I don't live in the city. You just got to look at it like, as soon as you leave Carson City, you're pretty much out of the city pretty quick. There's no sprawl. There's not much sprawl outside of Carson City. Yeah, DMAC, the VA is very much a glimpse at what socialized medicine will bring you, for sure. It won't be pleasant for people. People want to think the VA is going to be good for them. Oh, we need water. You got round 2 there too. There, war drums. War drums is hard to say, you know that? Like, I like saying the rebel is a lot easier to get through. Whoa. Delaware. Remember, Delaware, there's no such thing as dumb questions, just dumb people that ask questions. Yeah, it's after Kit Carson. Yeah, just, I mean, there's, the Carson River, Carson City, Carson Pass. It's all after Kit Carson. Yep. Let that coffee brew up. Yeah, I don't blame him, Mountain Man. Like, the VA can only, once they get in your business, they don't want to leave, and they make you dependent. Like the whole The whole drug thing with the VA, getting people hooked on opioids and stuff, they're not push a lot of bad stuff. Like get what you, I mean, you deserve, people deserve some things from the VA, I guess you'd say, and they should take, get what they or rate in what they deserve, but don't become dependent on the VA for sure. I would never use the VA as your primary medical in particular, but there's people that do it for their own problems. High Pocket likes playing on the 95. It's a good drive as long as you get north of Tonopah. Yeah, the you have a motorbike or something, High Pocket, you drive? You like a motorcycle driving or something? Never become dependent, right, Wayne? Yeah. Like use them as supplemental to get what you got. Well, I'm actually brewing right now. There, Delaware. Whoa, 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 whoa. I've got it. This is a brew, but I do have instant is my standard go-to. But I have also regular that I can brew in sometimes. This is a special occasion. Delaware. Yeah, Steve, you don't have anything good to say about the VA? Yeah, right. I don't. I don't go in, so I don't get a chance to say anything bad or good. I just basically took the money and run, and that was enough. That was my dealings with the VA were over. Right, Wayne? That's a sad state of affairs, isn't it? People get pushed to the brink of suicide instead of go to the VA because the VA won't help them deal with their problems. Like you said, they get them hooked on opioids, and they won't deal with the actual problem. People can't actually get over any of their symptoms, pain symptoms or otherwise, and they wonder why they are shooting themselves in the parking lot, right? I mean, like, it's like every week you hear about somebody new committing suicide out front of a VA facility. Everything from flag officers down to privates. Sad state of affairs. People in Texas are organizing in the chat. It's all good. You talked about that in the Memorial Day video, Wayne? Right. Everybody hear that sweet sound of success? Oh yeah, there he goes. We're getting there. We'll get the second cup of Joe going and we'll get back outside. Yeah, the number that die after the war more is the significant number they should be focusing on, right, Wayne? $60,000, Wayne? Are you talking? You're talking about all wars, all vets, not just Iraq and Afghanistan, right? 60,000, all wars. 60,000 seems like it'd be kind of high for our generation. Delaware, that's one. I don't think I would take you and do that. Oh, it's about ready. That would be, though, Delaware, definitely long. Let's get the accessories out here. Oh, since the 22 a day stat. Okay. That makes sense. But it accounts for Vietnam and everybody else, not just war specific. Generational. And I think there's a lot that goes into that culturally as far as the type of problems we have societally that goes into that, Wayne, but that's a whole different discussion. It's like we breed our own problems. It's not going to get any better. Coffee black. Yeah, it's like that meme says, Mule, your coffee, let's contemplate murder. Hey, have a good day, Frank. Thanks for checking in. Talk to you later. See, we got the coffee. Let's go and I might go to the back deck. What do you think? You want to go outside? Somebody wants to go outside. Come on. Gotta let the dog out too. Change our locale here. Yeah, that 22 a day thing is probably, it might be an underestimation of the way things have been going. Now we're in the sun. It's amazingly just right. Whereas most years it would be bizarrely hot, but this is a separate. I feel like Corsair trainer sitting here on the deck. So War Drum's looking for a place in Tennessee. Man, gonna abandon me. Be alone and unafraid. Well, let's look at where you're going. I got relative relations out that way. We can at least get you a point of contact on some business or whatever. Somebody to link up with. Unless you got family on your side. All right, Delaware, bike ride sounds like fun. Have a good one. Thanks for checking in. Enjoy your ride. Place in Tennessee. Man. Mule Team has family in Tennessee as well. Right on. Flying solo. Yeah, we have to rectify that there, War Drums. Find you some like-minded types. We'll have to talk. Let me know when you're available. How you looking at moving this year, or you got an outside time frame? Like you got to plan that stuff out. It's a long way to move. I've done it a couple times. Again, I think the only concern with Tennessee is the nuclear power plants is probably your biggest concern moving out that way. But plan accordingly, I guess. Stock up on your iodine. Mule, we need to do a chat. Uh-oh. Mule's gonna fire up the dragon, right? Are you promising to fire up the dragon, Mule? Is that what you're saying? Oh, whoa. Hey, Uman, what's going on? How you doing? There we go. That's better. Mountain Man was born in Fort Hood. Uman, welcome to the chat. Good morning. How's your Saturday? You're out east, right, though? Rooster, your lady has family in Tennessee, but they're delusional? What makes them delusional? Are they like Trump supporters or something? Are they hardcore on the Trump train? Hard to get more delusional than that. A guy tells you he's going to seize the guns and do due process second, and they still bend over backwards to support him. That's about as delusional as it gets right there. Kentucky's looking good, Mule. You still laying the groundwork? Are you gonna be able to get the whole family to Kentucky, Mule, or just you and the old lady? Like you gonna be able to get the youngins, the grandchildren going too? That'd be pretty sweet. If you get the whole clan to go to Kentucky, don't just abandon them. Delaware, never mind the bike ride, got 86th. Uh-oh. Index, that's like, showing up at the Armory at 04 and you end up not hiking. You got to figure out what to do the rest of the day. Yeah, right, Rooster? Anybody hard is delusional? No doubt. How they can't see it for what it is, beyond me. Can I see the chat with the glasses on? Because it's getting bright. Even Mule jumped off the Trump train. Well, like you said, Mule, you were voting for the Joker, and you got the Joker. But let's see how far it goes with having any effect. If it brings about the boogaloo faster. If we get the electric boogaloo faster, I guess it was all worth it, right? But it may not get to that point. Second cup of Joe's pretty good. Trying for everyone. Awesome, Mule. You got to have the whole team together, right? Hey, M. Long got a bunch moving to Central Kentucky this year. Right? Did you say that you got a bunch of South Africans moving nearby you, right, M. Long? There you go, Mule. There's you a contact down there in Kentucky, at least, M. Long. In that area. Well, I can't see without the... Hey, Tommy Stock, what's going on? You just sent a Jehovah's Witness to A&E for 9/11 Truth. To like the A&E TV channel? To A&E? Is that what that means? I don't know if that was what I would use, but I guess they might accept a little bit more because it's a little more mainstream. Oh, M. Long's got people moving from New York, Cali, New Jersey, right? North Texas wants to know what my theory is for post 2020. Oh man, post 2020. Well, again, it depends on what they want to happen. I still think Trump is a cover for the collapse of the economy until proven otherwise. Because they want to blame the collapse on capitalism and on big corporation, greed and stuff like that to part of the divide and distract, blame it on capitalism. And Trump's their cover for that, for the general populace at least. So I think he wins. And at some point between 2020 and 2023, we get a severe recession, reorganization. The bank seizes more properties and more land, and the bank enriches themselves with nefarious means of the Federal Reserve notes, and probably ushers at some point in an electronic currency that's one step shy of the mark of the beast. It'll probably be close, but it won't quite be exactly. But I think that's where we're going, North Texas, is economic control. Because that's what is going to come out of the next collapse of the economy is, or I guess you'd call it a downturn, you'd call it a recession, whatever you want. I guess it's a matter of degrees. Without a significant event like internal war, civil war, or a meteorite or whatever hitting, that economic situation is going to be the most severe problem we have. So that's a theory. It's a working theory. It's a work in progress. And that's the short version. We could definitely go much longer. What are you crowing about back there? Calm down. Don't get you started on 9/11, Wayne, right? Yeah, it's one of those things I don't even address and somebody brings it up directly. It's not worth arguing with people over. There's other more immediate issues that we can deal with to help bring people to a level of awareness. That 9/11 is now just water under the bridge, just like JFK shooting, Gulf of Tonkin. There's so many other things that are just water under the bridge that you just got to let go if they don't already have severe questions about it. You know, if somebody brings it up as a question, then you can discuss it. But to try to go to somebody that is fully indoctrinated and expect them to change their mind without them questioning it themselves is just a moot point at this point. Mountain Man, Trump also said during the campaign that if he went down the street shooting, he could get reelected. Yeah, because everybody was scared to death of Hillary, right? Rooster says James Field was sentenced to life yesterday. Harsh and unreasonable punishment. Who is James Fields, Rooster? I think I'm out of the loop on who this is. And it sounds like he probably did something that was unreasonable. I mean, you got life sentence for what? Exposing the bankers or something? I'm not aware of who James Fields is. M. Long says the Amish have taken over South Central Kentucky. Somebody's got to, right? Rooster, Rooster says when the collapse happens, Trump will say, "This is the biggest crash in American history. It's amazing." Well, he's already positioned himself to take the fall, but also he's been trying to pin things on the Fed, which is where the blame rightly belongs. But they're positioning it in a way that they're going to blame Trump for politicizing the Fed. They're going to say Trump politicized it and caused them to second guess themselves and do things they wouldn't normally do. I think is what's going to happen with the way the interest rates work in the next economic crash or whatever. Because he's been saying the Fed's political, and he's been saying the Fed needs to lower interest rates, which they have to do to continue the markets and everything working in any semblance of any moving forward. I mean, but it's going to cause drastic inflation also if they do that. But if they go against it and things fall apart, however they do it, it's just they framed it to be Trump's fault, is the way they're framing it, and because he's the first one to really comment and really put any pressure on the Fed, and they're going to say that's the reason for it. That's for the reason for the crash, and that it's his fault, I think, and that's just where I see it working out. When it's been the Fed's fault all along, and it's going to happen one way or the other, regardless what Trump says or what Trump does. The Fed's still going to crash it at some point in some way or fashion. And I'm messing. Let's go through the chat. Howdy from Indiana, ready to snap. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the chat. Thanks for checking in. Indiana, we got lots of folks from Indiana around here, or that show up in the chat. I don't know if you know Third Option. Third Option's out there in Indiana. He doesn't drift by very often, but you might see him in a chat sometime. Third Option's good people. Yeah, I think the Amish are probably more prepared for the SHTF than any of us. That's for sure. They're in a pretty good position to be ready, and there's lots of them. Harmony, good morning. Welcome to the chat. How are you doing? We're doing well. Tommy Stock, all of them are still alive and should be hung. Who is all of them? I think I missed who you're talking about. Yeah, Mule, the Amish are the OG preppers. Well, they never stopped. They never stopped living close to the land. You know, they never stopped living a normal life. They never stopped chasing the almighty dollar, the Federal Reserve note. They never got on that train, so that's easy for them to be where they are. Oh, James Fields is the guy from Charlottesville. Okay, I remember that story. Yeah, considering that he was threatened with a firearm when he put it in, switched gears to get a life sentence for a man, basically a low-level manslaughter, like a second-degree manslaughter. I guess you could probably try to get it. His lawyer probably didn't do him justice. Probably had a public defender of some sort, and he's a political fall guy, you know. Yeah, he got I think suppression and not allowing certain evidence probably played into that. I didn't pay close attention to the to the case either, though, so I don't know how they presented it stuff in court. I think just framing him as a supremacist alone sealed his fate. People, they're going to convince a jury that anybody that has any association with anything like that is automatically guilty of whatever they're being charged with, because people don't want to be associated, and they're going to bury him under the prison anyway. Surprised they wouldn't give him the death penalty. Steve says a depression is going to happen. When and who will be in power is anyone's guess. Right, Steve? Yeah, it's just a matter of how it plays out. But I think Trump's the perfect fall guy to set up encroaching further socialist principles, because Trump is a good cover for the collapse of the economy and go, look, the big rich white guy caused all this. We need further socialist implementation of things. Harmony, the market's a huge bubble. Yeah. Oh, huge bubble, no doubt. Everything's in a bubble. Bubble here, bubble there, bubble for everywhere, right? Yeah, Harmony, there's no doubt. And if the banks aren't allowed to fall apart this time, we're definitely in bad shape. Liberty for all, welcome to the chat. Good morning. You're from Indianapolis, like? Corsair Trainer, good morning. I'm doing it your style, out on the back deck now, Corsair. Don't want to take up your stick. Rooster, HTP knows the fact. What do I know facts about Rooster? Yeah, right, Mountain Man. A lot of people had that hope that Trump was going to, make America the country it once was, but his agenda was, the tell was there, because his past history. Somebody shared a video yesterday, I think on the Twitter, of a Ron Paul video from '08, I believe, and just the stark contrast of what he's saying with what you hear today is just, it's sad when you hear somebody say that plainly on, it's a national broadcast debate and people just ignored it. And it's sad. It was talking about, government bubbles and how the government gets involved and causes a bubble here. And talking about the between the loans and education. And he was talking about the student loan debt problem way back then, It's been an issue for a long time. And he was bringing it up on the debate. They'd ask him the question. He's like, it's the government's fault. You get the government out, you're going to, you're with the government involved, you have higher costs and lower quality. You get the government out, you get competition involved, you're going to make it more affordable. Competition is going to make it more affordable and give better quality. And the lady the lady asking the questions just couldn't comprehend. And he had to re-say it multiple times, like, get the government out of these, areas, healthcare, student debt, student loans, education, eliminate the Department of Education, all the stuff we've all heard. And if you said that now, people would still be like, what? Not understanding, but yet they complain about the student debt crisis, but they won't accept that that's the solution, is less government intervention, eliminating government involvement in these things. But that's how much cognitive dissonance people have. They can't accept that the answer is less government. They can't get it through their skulls, It's everybody wants a bailout, and now they're just talking about relieving everybody of all their debt for student loans. I don't know how I got off on that tangent, but anyway, it was a good video to get that reminder of what could have been, what should have been, had the GOP not pulled their shenanigans to protect their insiders, which is what happened. And the media conspired with the GOP to do that. Right, Harmony, the government is broken. Just watch one of the hearings. No wonder nothing ever gets done. Right? Or they do too much, or they do things they're not supposed to do. They do things that shouldn't be involved in. D-Max says all the Amish he's met have new Levi's and fancy steel chainsaws. Is that right? They wear Amish wearing Levi's. I don't think I've ever seen a picture of that. Interesting. I think they're still better off than the average American. I mean, they may be on the grid. They maybe have some tie to the grid to be, successful and stuff. But I think they're still better off, not only just skill-wise, but community-wise. They have a much tighter community to rely upon than the average. Do the Amish not believe in self-defense? Do they arm themselves? I'm not sure what their principles are on. Like, do they own shotguns for hunting or anything like that, or do they just farm and raise their own livestock? Is that the way they don't hunt at all? I'm not sure. Thomas Boy says he'll be dead by the time all this happens. High Pocket saw Amish at a freeway truck stop. I didn't know that either, huh? Right, Kenneth? Trump is overseeing the bankruptcy of America? Yeah. Corsair showing off the great California weather. It's nice here. It's nice enough it's bearable. It's sweatshirt weather this morning here, Corsair. It's kind of unusual for the end of June. Usually we'd be overheated by this time, but we're enjoying the cool weather while we can. The Amish hire drivers. Interesting. Yeah, right, North Texas. That was when you knew the GOP was lost. That's when I officially turned my card in, I guess you'd say. It was when it was that South Carolina debate, and he was talking about the golden rule, and he got booed off the stage in South Carolina. Well, not off the stage, but they booed when he talked about the principles of basically peace and the golden rule, doing to others they're doing to you, and he got booed because that's the cognitive dissonance of people. They can't accept that they could possibly be in the wrong, or that their government has been in the wrong for decades and not doing things that have been beneficial not only to the American people, to other people around the world. And people refuse to see that. It's sad. That's how you know things are in bad state of affairs. Okay, D-Mac, you're doing a VR for Steve's tabletop? Right on. 3, 4, and 5. I got to watch his last one. I didn't watch your yesterday, Corsair. I kind of jumped off the VR train. I was like, well, it's kind of, I don't think I have as much quite to contribute yet. I don't know. I'll wait to see what kind of scenario you throw out there. This last one, it's like, once things settle down here, like after day 2, like, it's going to be just start trying to figure it out. Like, unless you get a lot of outside pressure or influence or scenario building, like, it's just going to be like Groundhog Day at a certain point. I'm talking about the Amish. Right, North Texas. Yeah, Ron Paul would win, and they wouldn't even show. They'd show him in the wrong order on a poll and everything else. Yep. Yeah, Harmony. It's all socialism all the time. But they're going to help people. They're going to give them free stuff. It's going to be free health care, free jobs, and take the guns. That's about it. The Democrats miss Obama, says Rooster. It's pretty scary, isn't it? They'd be willing to take Obama over any of the people they got now, probably, for sure. I mean, I got to give Tulsi Gabbard props for pushing the anti-war stance and actually anti-interventionism, even, that we shouldn't be involved in these places. But she got the Ron Paul treatment right off the bat. just for that statement. Not, I mean, she's got tons of socialist-minded agendas, but when she brought up non-interventionism, they shut her down. Like they don't mention her, even though she was one of the most popular searches after that debate and everything else, like internet searches. But they don't want her to be spouting that message off because military-industrial complex might lose some money. Talk about the Amish. The Amish always have high-end Benellis and Berettas when we goose hunt with them. Oh, you go goose hunt with the Amish. That's cool. It's good to know your neighbors. Benellis and Berettas, huh? I don't know how English Gun Club's got in the chat, but have at it. Yeah, DMAC, a third party would be good. This might get some traction. Well, the media shuts them out. It's the media is the problem with that. The media controls so many agendas, so much. I mean, look how they can control the search algorithms in Google and everything else, and then YouTube, and this the suppressing any information on the daily news and stuff is just sad. That's why it won't get traction. Right, Corsair. They don't know what hurry up and wait is, and that's a lot of what it would be around here. I suspect is, I mean, it'd be a lot of toting water, and just trying to figure out how we're going to set up new systems, to a certain extent. But yeah, a lot of hurry up and wait, unless something arises that really requires a response. And you want to stay vigilant. Security's paramount, but it's not like you're saying, it's not all running and gunning. At least not out here. People in the cities I might be concerned about, but it wouldn't fall apart. I mean, if anything, I think out here, Corsair, with that type of thing, you'd be trying to help a lot of people that you wouldn't be able to. You wouldn't be able to get, because the first time you heard about somebody, especially the elderly, that died from either exposure to the elements, hot or cold, or something, they don't have something, people would be going out of their way to help them, to try to help get them what they needed, or find out who else in the area needed help. People you'd be bending over backwards to do things like that, and maybe to your own detriment. You'd have to really judge based upon the scenario about, like, if you have a generator is operable, how much fuel can you really waste doing those things, or like you say you wanted to help somebody cool off their house or something, run a swamp cooler or something for them for a little while in the heat of the day, or anything like that. If you got a vehicle that's operable, an older model vehicle, you could get running and driving water around to people or whatever. There's different things that could be needed that you might overstretch your resources more to help people than it would be worth it in the end. But that's just our nature, to try to help people to the end. I think that might be a big concern. Steve says calm only works until they run out of other people's money. Is that Congress only works till they run out of other people's money, Steve? Yeah, Congress is all about other people's money. Yeah, boating accidents have been going up, I hear, Rooster. I hear it's a problem. Yep, it's a problem. Yeah, right, Corsair, it's made by VR. There you go. We just blew up the tabletop right here. It's one of those things you would think through the process, you get the answers eventually once you get to thinking about it. I'm just too lazy to sit down and think about it. Well, I would say, DMAC, that the country's already divided like that. You look at voter participation in elections, it's already like that. People are already divided. Less than half the country that are eligible votes. So there you go. That's already like that. People don't want to participate in the process because it's either seen as corrupt or as of having no effect. So you already have that going on. People would rather separate Again, it goes back to peaceful separation. People would rather be peaceful and be left alone than try to force their way on somebody else. But here we are, and they're not. The thing is, they don't want you they don't want you to. They don't want to leave you alone. They want to control your life, and that's part of the problem that people are getting ready for, is to be controlled. Balkanization, says North Texas paper. Exactly, definitely the balkanization. Like it's kind of like what we started off the chat with. People trying to make people in Maine live like people in Florida, to live like people that live in Kansas, and the people in Kansas making people live in Utah like they do in California or whatever. But people don't want that. They want to be balkanized to the extreme now, which is more what America is supposed to be, is a mismatch of very different cultures, but formed together under common defense, and common defense alone, with regular commerce being regular, not controlled, not manipulated, not ran by the EPA or anything else, but regular commerce where there's not tariffs between states. That was the whole meaning of the republic, but we ended up with what we got, because people would rather follow the Lincoln Doctrine of absolute compliance and subservience to DC than have freedom. It's a sad state of affairs. So I think we've brought this chat full circle. To tie that up with a bow, we'll check it out. Let me run down the last part of the chat here, and we will shut this thing down, because as you can hear in the background, people are getting antsy. There's things to be done. But thanks everybody for do unto others. Tulsi's a member of CFR, is that right? That's interesting. I didn't know she was a member of CFR. She talks a good game when it comes to non-interventionism, but they still want to they're still shutting down that message, interestingly, even if she is a member of the inside crew. Kenneth says he loves how Democrats want to strip a person's right because they're not mature enough but want to lower voting age, right? Yeah, it's circular logic. Nothing makes sense what they say half the time. It's all circular logic. Whether it's talking about freedom or rights or anything else, nothing makes sense. All right, Kenneth, have a good day. Thanks for checking in. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for the discussion out there. Tommy Boy says there's patriots should rise. The thing is, Tommy Boy, nobody knows how to define patriot, and nobody knows who they are. And unfortunately, there's so many people that are so-called patriots that are manipulated and controlled that nobody wants to trust them enough to organize to actually do anything, which is the way the Stasi, CIA, and FBI have succeeded in that respect. Let me get in the shade here, make sure I don't miss anything before checking out. Have a good day, Steve. Corsair Trainer doing some training in a few hours. All right, right on. I think you're talking about work training, right? Not tabletop training, right? Right, Delaware. As Cali goes, so goes the country, which is not the way it's supposed to be. Cali should be Cali. Texas should be Texas. But everybody follows the Lincoln Doctrine of everybody should be the same. You should live how they want you to live. Yeah, I think the background checks for ammo start Monday in California. Huge run on ammo in California right now. I don't know if you can even buy ammo in California. Right, North Texas, meet like-minded people and help. Yeah, common defense is the common theme, indeed. Firearms retention classes, nice, nice. Yeah, it's that time, Mountain Man. The chickens are definitely laying down taking care of business, right? Shouldn't be a fox in the hen house this time of day in particular. All right, Head Pocket, have a good day. Enjoy your camping time. Wish I could get out there with you. Hey, thanks everybody for coming in. Been an awesome chat. Been an awesome discussion. Remember to check out the links below to the articles we discussed and Delaware Patriots video. They kind of inspired some of this discussion. But y'all have a good weekend if we don't see you elsewhere on the YouTube. You know what to do. Prepare, live free.